Well, it's been a launch pad for the likes of Lady Gaga and so many more. The Bitter End is one of those legendary music venues in the city, but like most clubs these days, it's in big trouble and at risk of closing for good. Matt
King shows us what is being done to save it.
One day you are making a living doing something you absolutely love, and the very, very next day you are you can't be legally employed.
Musician Evan Kremen first played at the West Village Club, where he now works, in 1987.
I was in awe of the place. I'd heard of the Bitter End before I'd walked in here. I knew who had played here.
A showcase club for the last 30 years under the leadership of owner Paul Rizzo, discovering new artists like Lady Gaga before they reached stardom. In the 1960s, the Bitter End hosted headline acts, performing 2 shows a night for a week.
You'd have like Neil Young opening up for Joni Mitchell, stuff like that.
Obviously Bob Dylan and a lot of folkies, the Peter, Paul and Mary.
The Bitter End had many, many performers there who found their beginnings, found their identity and their audiences in that place.
Singer-songwriter Peter Yarrow, the Peter in Peter, Paul and Mary, includes himself in that group after performing at the Bitter End for 6 weeks in the summer of 1961.
After the third night, you couldn't get a seat.
During the pandemic, Yarrow performed via a live stream for donors to the Bitter End's GoFundMe page, now more than 90% of the way to its goal of $100,000 to sustain the club until we can gather indoors to listen to live music once again.
It's all keeping us going.
Rizzo's used the last 9 months to recarpet, repaint, and repair parts of the club in need of renovation for many years.
The Bitter End is not yesterday. It's an aspirational place.
Yarrow describes the Bitter End as exactly the medicine we need for our time. When the club can reopen, Kremen expects to find what it has to offer in great demand.
The audience's need for that uplifting, that spiritual uplift from live music, it's a symbiotic relationship. We, as performers, get the same thing from giving it to you.
Live arts are a very important part of the human experience.
As soon as it's open again, I'm going to get down there and sing.
In the West Village, I'm Matt King, Fox 5 News.
A year ago, whoever could have imagined all of this? It's crazy. It's so hard.